Welcome to Infinite Mind Potential, where we explore the deepest corners of human psychology to unlock the secrets of true mastery. Meet Yamamoto Kenshin, a 63-year-old grandmaster who has spent every waking moment of his life perfecting the art of absolute control. For decades, he has built a fortress of habits, a daily routine so precise that it resembles the ticking of a clock. His life is a masterpiece of efficiency, where every breath and every step is calculated to eliminate the possibility of error. But in this pursuit of perfection, Kenshin has unknowingly constructed a golden cage that traps his true spirit within rigid walls. He has become a prisoner of his own excellence, performing the motions of life without actually being present in the moment. He wins every duel not because he is aware, but because his body reacts automatically to stimuli before his mind engages. This is the paradox of high performance. When you master a skill too well, you begin to sleepwalk through your existence. One day, amidst the silence of his victory, a terrifying thought struck him like a thunderbolt crashing into a quiet lake. He realized that the discipline he worshipped had turned him into a predictable machine, incapable of true adaptation or genuine feeling. To find his soul again, he needed to stop adding more skills and start the painful process of stripping them away. This brings us to the forbidden teachings of Musashi, who believed that rigid style is the ultimate enemy of survival. We are exploring a philosophy that contradicts modern productivity advice. It does not teach you to build, but teaches you to destroy. True control under pressure does not come from holding on tighter, but from letting go of the need to control the outcome. Your mind is like this cup. If it is already full of techniques and strategies, there is no room for reality. The first stage of this transformation is recognizing that your expertise has become a blinder that prevents you from seeing the truth. We often confuse rigid discipline with mastery, thinking that if we repeat a process enough times, we are safe from failure. But safety is an illusion, and the Musashi method demands that we step out of the comfort of our rehearsed routines. He begins the process of unlearning, shedding the layers of protection he spent decades building to expose his vulnerable core. Unlearning is not about forgetting what you know. It is about detaching your identity from the methods you use to succeed. He forces himself to be awkward again, to feel the uncertainty of a novice, intentionally disrupting his own neural pathways. This state is called Shoshin, or beginner's mind, where possibilities are endless because you are not bound by the rules of expertise. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. And this limits our potential. To regain control, you must first be willing to lose it, exposing yourself to the chaos of the unpredictable world. Musashi taught that one should be like water, taking the shape of the container, never fixed, always ready to flow. The second stage of mastery is realizing that the rules were only training wheels, meant to be discarded once balance is achieved. You must burn the manual once you have internalized the lesson. Otherwise, you will always be dependent on external instructions. He begins to move not by count or rhythm, but by feeling the texture of the ground and the shift of wind. This reconnection with the senses is vital. It grounds you in the present moment, pulling you out of your mental simulations. When the noise of the world is loud, your internal mind must be silent to process the information without bias or fear. Science calls this the flow state, but the samurai called it mushin, or no mind, a state of pure action without thought. Mushin is not an empty mind, but a mind that is not fixed on anything and is therefore open to everything. Just as the moon is reflected perfectly in still water, a calm mind reflects reality exactly as it is, without distortion. He understands now that anxiety comes from the gap between how we want the world to be and how it actually is. The rigid fighter tries to force his will upon the world, while the fluid fighter adapts his will to fit the situation. This is the third stage of mastery, returning to natural movement, where technique is forgotten because it has become part of you. Like a master potter who no longer thinks about hand placement, You must trust your subconscious to handle the mechanics of execution. When you stop thinking about how to move, you free up your mental resources to perceive the subtle intentions of your opponent. Time seems to slow down because your brain is processing information efficiently, filtering out the noise of fear and doubt. He enters the duel with no stance. For having a stance is a sign of rigidity and gives the enemy a target. This is the principle of minimum effort for maximum result, using the opponent's own aggression and momentum against them effectively. The oak tree resists the wind and breaks, but the willow tree bends with the wind and survives to stand another day. Control under pressure is not about stopping the force coming at you, but guiding it where you want it to go. Your calmness becomes a weapon, unsettling your enemies who rely on your fear to validate their own power and confidence. True power is not the ability to kill, but the ability to control life and death with a single, focused thought. He has moved from the machine of discipline to the human of awareness, reclaiming the joy of the art he loves. The Forbidden Musashi method teaches us that the ultimate goal of discipline is to eventually transcend the need for it. Like a bird gliding on the wind, you must learn to trust your instincts and let the currents of life carry you. He no longer creates clones of himself. He guides others to find their own unique rhythm and path to mastery. Uniformity is the death of creativity, and without creativity, we cannot solve the complex problems that pressure throws at us. Life is not a rehearsed choreography. It is a chaotic game of strategy where the rules change with every single move. By breaking his isolation, he learns that wisdom can be found in the most ordinary places, not just in the dojo. He realizes that the principles of control and release are universal, present in every craft, from cooking to blacksmithing. To be tough does not mean to be hard. It means to be resilient enough to appreciate beauty, even in harsh times. Disturbances will always happen, but a trained mind returns to stillness quickly, just as the water eventually calms down again. He stops fighting the environment and starts cooperating with it, finding peace in the midst of a cold downpour. Your internal fire must be strong enough to withstand the winds of change without being extinguished by the slightest breeze. The concept of Mu reminds us that we are not our thoughts, our titles, or our achievements. We are the observer. When you strip away the mask of the expert, you finally meet the person underneath, the one who is truly alive. We are small in the grand scheme of things, and realizing this humility is the key to unlocking true mental potential. Do not seek to leave a mark on the world. Seek to live so fully that the world marks you. Too much tension breaks the spirit. Too much relaxation dulls the mind. The middle path is where true power resides. Tuning your mind is like tuning an instrument. It requires constant, gentle adjustment, not force or aggressive manipulation. When the storms of life arrive, do not try to stop the rain. Simply ensure your roof is strong enough. Peace is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to remain calm and centered within the heart of the chaos. Be the eye of the storm, the point of stillness around which the events of your life can rotate safely. Breath is the bridge between the mind and body. Control your breath, and you control your physiological response to stress. By slowing your exhalation, you signal to your brain that you are safe, turning off the fight or flight response. Clarity returns when panic subsides, allowing you to see solutions that were previously hidden behind the fog of your fear. Every crisis is temporary, just like the weather. Knowing this gives you the patience to endure without losing your hope. Destruction is often necessary for creation. Do not fear the breaking of old habits, for they make room for growth. He honors his past discipline, but no longer carries its weight, having evolved beyond the need for external protection. True mastery is not about hoarding power, but about empowering others to find their own strength and their own path. The cycle continues, but Kenshin warns the student not to fall into the same trap of perfectionism that he did. Look beyond the technique. Look beyond the win and loss. Look at the vastness of life that surrounds the combat. Your mind has infinite potential, but only if you remove the walls you have built around it in the name of safety. Embrace impermanence, for it is the only truth. Everything changes, and your ability to change with it is your strength. Connect with the collective flow of life, moving intuitively with the currents rather than fighting against the tide of destiny. Status is a heavy coat that weighs you down. Take it off occasionally to remember what it feels like to be human. The persona you have built is just a mask. Do not be afraid to let it shatter to reveal your true face. From this height, the problems that seemed massive on the ground appear tiny and insignificant, mere specks in the landscape. Perspective is the antidote to pressure. When you zoom out, you realize that this moment is just a small chapter. Fill yourself with the present moment, for the past is a memory, and the future is a fantasy that hasn't happened. Become transparent to the light of truth, letting it pass through you without obstruction, illuminating your path forward clearly. This final movement is not for combat, but for celebration. A dance of gratitude for the body and mind he possesses. Intent is everything. Move with purpose, and the universe will align to support your actions in ways you cannot foresee. He is no longer a samurai, no longer a master. He is simply a man, standing in harmony with the world. We have witnessed the evolution of a soul, from the rigidity of iron to the fluidity of water and air. Now the question turns to you. What rigid habits are you holding on to that are preventing your own liberation? Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Infinite Mind Potential for more journeys into the mind. True power is formless.